Now pitching for your Coyotes, Madison Fruge.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back as we get set for game number 2 of our doubleheader. The prior game went 2 hours, 15 minutes, lasted 7 innings. It was a 9-2 Northwest Florida State win. As we get ready for game number 2, Robert Williamson set to bring you the coverage. If you joined us in game 1, great to have you back. If this is your first trip into the coverage, thanks for joining us. Given Hammonds with an infield single. And a base runner aboard for the Raiders.
Now batting, Sister Arnold.
Sister Arnold coming to the plate. Well, let me start by apologizing. Our center field camera, if we had man cameras, they'd be making the appropriate adjustments. Don't have man cameras, so it's all automatic. Got a little too much sunlight right now, so it's got kind of a washed out look, but it will get back to normal as soon as that sun continues to head west. Yeah, one-man band, so doing a little play-by-play, camera switching, camera setting, which means, of course, when it's a one-man band, you know who's hitting all the sour notes. Can't blame it on anybody else. Gotta take the blame, but those cameras are on auto because of that sun drifting across the sky. So as a result, it's a little different look from pitcher to hitter. Lengthy explanation for a look that will change here in just a moment. Sister Arnold batting in the 2 spot. Ashlyn Shimer, the 3-hitter. Christina Mason batting 4th. Gabby Miller 5th. Michaela Ferguson is the 6-hitter. Into left field, and Arnold on with a single. Back-to-back base hits. Couple of base runners aboard.
Now batting, Ashlyn Shearer.
Autumn Vessier is the 7-hitter. Sophie Jones batting 8th. And Cameron Carver in the 9-hole for Northwest Florida State. Madison Fruge getting the start in the circle for Coastal South. Olivia Tubbs is behind the plate. First baseman Sydney Sherman. As the strike is delivered to Shira. Taylor Hunt at second. The shortstop is Kaylin Parker. Kaylin Fincher at third. Got Jersey Carter in left. Abby Davis in center. And Ella Morgan Sears in right. Outside with a pitch to Shira. Two aboard, nobody gone. Top of the first. Northwest Florida State with a 3-run first inning in the first game. Strike delivered, throw down to Parker covering third, and she had the out, except when she lifted the mitt up to show Blue the ball was in mitt. Ball popped out of mitt. And Hammonds at third, Arnold at second. Couple of runners in scoring position for Shira. Christina Mason on deck. Opening game saw a couple of pitchers for Coastal South. Shelly Littlefield the start, Riley Merritt came in. Northwest Florida State used 3. Kaylin Hale the start, Sydney Simpson with an inning, and Torrey Taylor finished it. Ground to first, scooped up there by Sherman. But Shimer gets the RBI on the putout. Hammonds will score from third. Arnold goes to third.
Now batting, Christina Mason.
One out, Christina Mason, followed by Gabby Miller. Christina Mason in the opening ball game hit a 2-run home run. It was the only home run in that first game, 12th of the year for Northwest Florida State. Count even at 1 on Mason. One ball, one strike, one out, one on. Strike on the outside part of the plate. Well, little known fact, Northwest Florida State not publicizing it, but I actually graduated from what was then Okaloosa-Walton Junior College. Then it became Okaloosa-Walton Community College, and now Northwest Florida State. I think they graduated me just to, kind of get me off campus. I did not have a sparkling GPA. Did not make the dean's list often, or the president's list, or whatever. See, I don't even know the lists. Swing and a miss by Mason. Frugier picking up her first strikeout of the game.
Now that Gabby Miller.
2 gone for Gabby Miller. Michaela Ferguson to the on-deck circle. That a shot in the direction of left field, but foul. And Miller back to the plate. Miller came into the prior ball game as a pinch runner. Starting this one, batting in the 5 spot as the DP. Couple of strikes on Miller. Frugier trying to get out of the top of the first with minimum damage. 1 run is plated, 1 runner is on. A little high with the offering, and the count goes to 1-2. One ball, couple of strikes, 2 gone, 1 in. Hammonds on the Shira ground out to first. That is ground back to Shira, reaches over, scoops, goes to first. Miller's out on the 1-3, and Arnold, well, apparently she is still on, and back to the plate comes Miller. I'm assuming it was fouled off. We went through a lot of stuff for a foul off, and players going back to the dugout, defense about to turn into the offense. But Blue says, hey, everybody back. It was fouled off by Ferguson. By Miller, actually. We are creatures of habit. I'd already put a spot in the Miller box on my scorebook, so I'd gone to Ferguson. She's on deck, though. And it is Miller who is back at the plate. 3-2 pitch. Outside. And apparently it's now 3-2. So it was a 2-2. Here's the 3-2. Frugier's full count offering. And that is fouled away. Couple of base hits, 1 run plating. Arnold's at third. Miller trying to drive in the run, extend the top of the first. Frugier trying to get it to the bottom part of the inning. Game 2 of our doubleheader, which likely takes us into the night. What a play by Hunt with a stop over to first. Not in time, though. Arnold will score. It will be an infield single and an RBI for Miller.
Now batting Michaela Ferguson.
And Michaela Ferguson to the plate. Autumn Vissier to the on-deck circle. Off and running is Miller. She'll get in safely with a stolen base. You can hear a little bit of a breeze blowing into the mic. There's a shot into left field. Miller told to go onto the house, the throw to the plate. She'll be tagged out trying to dive in, but apparently caught Olivia Tubbs with a dive. And she is in some pain, requiring the attention maybe of the trainer. Let's see if we can see what happened at the plate. It looked like on the dive that Miller may have caught Tubbs. Yep, right there with that foot. As she was diving past, it knocks off the helmet of Tubbs. And I'm not sure if it is the foot or the helmet that actually got Tubbs, but she's up to the dugout and hopefully back in the game when we return.
Coastal Alabama Community College.
Second game of two here on the campus of Coastal Alabama South. Trying to split the doubleheader. 2 runs played in the top of the first. And the Raiders take a 2-zip lead into the bottom part of inning number 1. Jersey Carter to start it. First pitch, bobbled at third and then dropped by Mason. That is the 4th Raider error of the day. First in this game, and it's got Carter on.
Now batting, Abby Davis.
Abby Davis, the 2-hitter. Kaylin Fincher batting third for the Coyotes. Sydney Sherman 4th. Taylor Hunt is the 5-hitter. Ella Morgan Sears in that 6th spot. Kaylin Parker hit 7th. Olivia Tubbs 8th. Another slow roller to Mason. This time Fields and whips to first. Carter goes to 2nd.
Now batting, Kaylin Fincher.
Olivia Tubbs, the 8-hitter. Grace Langston batting 9th. All facing Brianna Barnes for the Raiders. Michaela Ferguson behind the plate. Boy, everybody going after the first pitch. This will sail over the head of Shira. Carter rounding third, coming in. It's a double for Fincher, and the lead is cut in half.
Now batting, Sydney Sherman.
Two-one ball game for Sydney Sherman. Every Coyote has swung at the first pitch. Carter got on compliments of the E5. Davis ground into the 5-3. Fincher with the double to right field, and Sherman fouling off the first pitch. Taylor Hunt is on deck. rest of that Raider defense, Sister Arnold at first, Cameron Carver at second. The shortstop is Autumn Vissier. And Christina Mason is playing third. Given Hammonds in left, center fielder is Sophia Jones. Ashlyn Shira in right. Popped up, foul territory, right side. It will drop. And Sherman back to the plate. Sherman with a chance to tie the game here in the bottom of the first. Two-two pitch, too high and too far outside. 3-2 offering. It is low. Sherman down to first with a walk.
Taylor Hunt.
Taylor Hunt coming to the plate. Ella Morgan Sears to the on-deck circle. Fouled back to the screen, and the Coyote string of hitters going after the first pitch continues. 5 straight now, as that is fouled off by Hunt. Driven over towards first, diving to make the stop as Arnold gets to the bag. Fincher will go to third, and Sherman takes second.
Now batting Ella Sears.
Couple of base runners in scoring position for Ella Morgan Sears. Grounds it to Mason, dropped. Everybody is safe. Couple of Raider errors contributing to runners. Coyotes making the Raiders pay for one of the errors, as Carter reached on an error and comes in on the Fincher double. And the base is loaded for Kaylin Parker. Hit towards second, fielded there by Carver, goes to first. Parker out on the 4-3. Bases left loaded. Coyotes with a run. 2-1 Raiders as we head to the second.
You see an empty field. We see a world-class tournament. We see an amazing wedding day. An empty stadium becomes a music festival. We see a blank canvas. We're the people who bring the biggest events to life. Discover event planning at Coastal Alabama Community College.
Now batting Autumn Vissier.
Coverage brought to you in part by Industrial Scrap Processors. We say thank you very much to the folks who have been in the business since 1983. One of Bessemer's best. Autumn Vissier starting it off. Sophia Jones and Cameron Carver due up in the inning 2. In a 2-1 ball game. Ground right back up the middle. Vissier on with a leadoff single. So the Coyotes with a Raider runner at second and make that at first in the form of Vissier. Sophie Jones coming to the plate. Jones in the opening game, 1 hit in 4 plate appearances. Low and away with the first Frugier pitch. Tomorrow, Coastal North, Mississippi Gulf Coast baseball at 1 o'clock. That is shot into right field by Jones. Scooped quickly by Sears, the throw in, keeping Jones at first, but Vissier will go to third.
Now that Cameron Carver.
Runners on the corners for Cameron Carver. Carver did not play in the opening ball game. Getting the start at second in this one in the 9-spot hitting. Carver with a couple of base runners in scoring position. After Jones goes on the pitch, there was no throw. And now you've got Jones at second and Vissier at third. Top of the order, moving to the on-deck circle. 0-2 pitch to Carver. Low and away. Frugier trying to get Carver to bite on something relatively close. Just a little bit outside. Tubbs, Langston, and Carter when you get to the bottom of the second. That's the 8, 9, and 1 spots for Coastal South. 2-2 pitch. And it stays 2-2. Foul away. Two offering Carver. The right-hander, Frugier, the righty. That'll miss inside, and the count runs full. Raiders trying to load it up with nobody going. Frugier trying to take care of an out or two. Here in the top of the second. Another one ground foul in the battle between Frugier and Carver continuing. Opening game, we kick things off with 64 degrees. It is now 65 in Bay Minette. Swing and a miss and an inside pitch. Carver will strike out. That is K number 2 for Frugier.
Now that giving Hammonds.
Giving Hammonds to the plate. Air quality 29 and good. The UV index is 1 and low. Which I guess means that if you were to work on a tan, you wouldn't get burned. Of course, you probably wouldn't get tan. But at least it's safe now to be outdoors. Winds out of the north at 7, gusting to 13. Those winds making the temperature feel like 63. Hammonds with a single in the first. He'll hop away from Tubbs, but she'll get to it before Vissier thinks about coming home from third. By the way, good to see Tubbs back in the game. Gabby Miller with that dive to home plate while being tagged out in the first. Accidentally caught Tubbs' helmet, but Tubbs okay, back behind the plate here in the top of the second. Sister Arnold on deck. Roll to Parker, off the mitt, into center field. That has got Vissier in. So an E6 plates a run. Makes it a 3-1 game.
Sister Arnold.
That is the first Coyote error of the day. Vissier scores, Jones to third. Hammonds takes second. And it's a 3-1 game with Sister Arnold at the plate. Ground into left field, base hit for Arnold. Jones will score. Hammonds goes to third, Arnold's second base hit of the game. And the Raiders building a 4-1 lead. Ashlyn Shira picked up an RBI on a ground out to first in the first. Grounds this one to Parker. Backhands, goes to second. Gets the out there, but Shira again with an RBI on a ground out. As Hammond scores from third.
Now batting Christina Mason.
Two gone with a runner at first. Christina Mason struck out in the first. Gabby Miller to the on-deck circle. A 5-1 Raider lead here in game number 2. Northwest Florida State trying to make it 2 straight. Coyotes trying to split it. Tubbs, Langston, and Carter in the bottom of the second for the Coyotes. Mason, the second out in the first inning when she struck out. One of 2 strikeouts in the game for Frugier. Got Mason in the first, got Carver earlier this inning. Strike delivered on the inside part of the plate to Mason. Mason came into the day batting .364. Off and running, that is Shira, but doesn't matter. Got a walk of Mason. Shira would have been there anyway. Could have walked there. Gabby Miller coming to the plate. Miller with a single and RBI. She got tagged out diving into home plate. That was on the Michaela Ferguson single. Tried to score from second. Came into the day batting .300, 3 of 10. Has 3 hits, 2 of which are extra base hits, a double and a triple. Michaela Ferguson on deck. 1-1 pitch to Parker, goes to third, gets the force out there. So the putout officially scored is 6-5. And gets Shira, leaves Mason and Miller on. 3 runs plate, 5-1 lead. Northwest Florida State as we go to the bottom of the second.
You're organized, driven, focused, ready to create the life of luxury in the most beautiful and unique locations, locally and around the world. Discover hospitality management at Coastal Alabama Community College.
Now back, Olivia Cubs.
We get the bottom of the second underway in a 5-1 ball game, joined by the AD and all the Coastals. Daniel Head. Daniel, I know you've been kicked back all morning long. Just got up probably, 30 minutes, an hour ago?
Yeah, I slept in today. Not a lot going on this time of year for us. So
yes,
it's a good time for me to slack off and not do much right now.
Tom's grounding into the 4-3. Obviously very busy, especially with all the aesthetic work going on, the renovations at a variety of campuses. And we might as well start with Coastal Alabama South because there is a sport near and dear to your and my heart, basketball, that hadn't got to play on their floor yet. So what's the status? I mean, heck, let's just cut to the quick. What's the status?
We got some positive information today. We heard from the project manager. It looks like right now we're forecast to play our last 2 home games there on the 22nd and 24th. They think everything will be wrapped up right by then. They kind of gave us an itemized list of things that have to be resolved before then, but I think everything that was on that list is very attainable, and we're hoping to get one step closer to that first day in there in the new gym.
So officially, everything will be played in Bruton that was scheduled here until the 22nd. 22nd, you think you're going to be in the new place?
Correct.
All right. Well, I had an opportunity to walk by, take a look. Gorgeous facility as Langston will swing and miss. So I know you're anxious to get in.
Absolutely. I'll be glad to have an office again, somewhere to call home, and so nowhere to hide anymore though. You don't have an office. You kind of run around and hide, and nobody ever knows where you're at. So yeah, I'll be back in my office now, and front center. So. That'll be fun. I'm just kidding about the other. But.
Well, I did notice too, by the way, when I walked through that area currently has signs that indicate do not enter, but they are close to being finished as well. I think on the 22nd.
Right. Most of the cosmetic things are done. There's just a few things. It's more of some infrastructure things that they're, trying to get resolved that they didn't know that they're, kind of some problems that came up at the end when they're trying to get everything ready to go. So.
This is not the only place renovations are taking place. As a matter of fact, even when you get inside the gym there in Bruton like last night, there are certainly some improvements that have been made there, even since I was there for volleyball.
Yeah, we had a major facelift of that facility. It's been over the last year. We've, first time that building has ever had air conditioner in it, and, that's been a lot of hot summer days with our volleyball teams and up there practicing and things like that, so they'll really appreciate the HVAC system we have there. We've done some upgrades to the weight room. The gym is a fresh coat of new paint and signage, and the new gym floor. It was a kind of an older, outdated facility that's had a nice little facelift, and we've had a lot of compliments on it. And we've also got this stuff going in Monroeville too. So.
What is happening in Monroeville?
Brand new tennis courts, resurfacing. Just actually before I jumped on, we I found out we'll be able to play get on the courts Friday. So that's when our first home game's scheduled. So they pushed it right down to the wire, and it looks like we'll be on it on Friday. And 8 new freshly surfaced courts, new colors to match our branding colors, and it's going to be a beautiful facility there on campus in Monroeville.
I got a feeling, though, that when this work is done, you've got something in mind for the future. I mean, so what's, say, 2 or 3 years out?
I think that, probably our next project that we've discussed will be something here in Bay Minette with baseball, softball, with them having, currently we don't have restrooms, locker rooms, batting cages for baseball. There's a plan in place for all that, and so as soon as all this wraps up, I think that's going to be our next ticket item, is maybe a multi-purpose cages, concessions, locker room facility for baseball, softball here. That maybe some kind of shared facility. There's a few different philosophies and a few things, kind of how we're going to approach that. But those are on the horizon also.
Back-to-back walks, Langston and Carter both given walks by Barnes. And the Coyotes with a couple of base runners on as Abby Davis makes her way to the plate. Now, there are cameras installed now around the baseball diamond. Is that something, too, that was school-related funding or booster-related funding? I mean, that's something new as well. That is
something that was not it. That's the camera system is a training and development. It's tied to a software system that Coach Pruitt is using with his player development piece. Basically all their practices are filmed, all their at-bats, everything. They're able to go into the system, break it down. They've got all different angles and things like that. So it's nothing to do with us having, it's not a security system or a broadcasting system. It is just strictly something for training and development for the baseball program. It's, a new, cutting edge technology that they felt would be a very beneficial piece of equipment for our players to get better and help move them to the next level. So it's a really cool unit, and I haven't seen it all the bells and whistles of what it can do, but I've been told, and I'm excited to see how that works out.
Kaylin Fincher to the plate, couple of base runners aboard, 2 gone here in the bottom of the second. You're going to be pleased with the athletic programs. They may not at the moment in basketball be atop the standings, but they're darn close. And Coastal North beginning to make a move. I think they are going to be playing in the postseason tournament. Coastal South beginning to make that standard. Robbie Robertson moved late in the year. I think they're going to be right in the thick of things come the end of the year. So you got to be pleased where everybody's at the moment.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. I think that there's a very strong possibility that all 4 basketball programs make the postseason. So both of our women's teams are in really good shape to make the conference tournament, and then I think our men teams are doing well and they're playing their best basketball. They're their last 4 or 5 games they're doing well. They're making a move in the standings, and they'll be a tough draw if they get in the tournament. If I was a higher seed and happened to draw them first round, that would not be who I'd want to go up against.
What kind of logistical differences for the basketball program making the trip to Bruton versus playing on their home floor? I mean, is it that big of a change for them?
Yeah, it's like playing a road game. I mean, it's they haven't had a practice. They haven't had a normal practice, a normal game situation all year. And that's what's even cooler about this group of kids. I mean, they don't make excuses. They show up and play every night. They work hard, and that's the testament of their leader. Robbie just shows up and he does right by the kids and by the game, and he wants his kids to go out and control what they can control and leave all the adversity or excuses out the door, but we really, I can't say enough for both Robbie's team and Coach Yelding's team of just all the hardships they've had to endure and just to hang through and still, be playing meaningful games right now when they could have easily, if you weren't mentally tough or you didn't have a lot of pride in what you do, they could easily use those situations as adversity and reasons to not have success, and they haven't done that. And so we're just really indebted to this group for what all that they've been able to do for us, and be patient and respectful to the process, because this is a long-term positive situation. So we don't want to be like, oh, this is just a horrible circumstance, because sometimes you have to go backwards to go forwards for progress. So it's a good problem to have sometimes, but we obviously wish everything was ideal.
Now the bases loaded for Sydney Sherman. 2 gone here in the bottom of the second in a 5-1 game. Where have the basketball teams been practicing?
A couple of the different schools here around town. They've been at the middle school, the high school. They've got to work around their schedules, so the time they practice is never the same, and they practice in Bruton some. So it's just they're just wherever they can get on a court. The problem with practicing at a non-collegiate gym is the lines are different than high school.
From the standpoint, of course, I guess your 3-point.
Yeah, your 3-point line is there's a little deeper. So that's why we couldn't play any games locally at the high school, or we can't host events at high schools because of the 3-point line for the men's is a different depth. So really you have to use a college facility, and luckily we when we redid the floor in Bruton, we did have the basketball lines put in there just for this emergency situation if we had to play a game there, and it worked out. And so it's been good for that campus too, to have a little extra life on there with some athletic events going on this spring also.
Well, if this was not happening where you had to think of ancillary gyms, would you have put those lines to basketball standards, because there's not any currently over there?
Right. Yeah, I think so, because it's still a facility that kids can go in there and play basketball. You want to have it available. It's not a big deal to put the lines there, so it's better to have them there in case of emergency rather than to not have them and then need it and then not have it. So I think that wasn't a big deal.
By the way, congratulations too to Chuck Taylor and Daniel Head and Coastal North. Big win last night in overtime.
Oh, what a great game
over Reed State.
What a great game. Coach Taylor, they know how to play the close game. I think that's the 4th game I've been to that there's been a shot at the buzzer to win or lose the game. Last night, unfortunately, it was tie game. The Reed had the ball with 15 seconds left or so to win the game, and then we got a steal deflection with under 3 seconds and went down for a fast break and laid it up about a half a second later before the buzzer went off, so we had to go in overtime. So they didn't allow that adversity to they ended up really kind of dominating the overtime period and winning the game pretty easily. But it's funny, their team has done this all year. They go and they kind of get behind, and they were down about 8 points with 6 minutes left, and I walked over to one of the guys I was standing there. I said, Coach Taylor's got him right where he wants him. He's like, what do you mean? I'm like, this is what they do. He figures them out, and then gets to about the last 5 minutes. They make their run, and it becomes a one shot game at the end, and see what happens. So it came out in our favor last night, and they did that their previous game at Chattahoochee Valley, won on a buzzer beater. Yep. So it's if you want to watch some fun, exciting basketball, then go to Monroeville and see Coach Taylor, and then like I said, Coach Armstrong. They're in a shot to win the conference. So that's a nice hit there.
Off the top of the fence and out of the park. And as a matter of fact, Ferguson kind of waited to go, okay, now I'm not sure where it went. Is that fair ball, foul ball? Well, it wasn't foul ball, but I'm not sure why she put on the brakes, but she did.
Yeah, I guess she must have thought it bounced over or something. I don't know, but that was smoked. That was a line drive, and that ball was driven well opposite field. That was a good piece of hitting. They got a good club. I mean, they finished runner-up in the national tournament. In the national tournament last year, could have easily been national champions. So Northwest Florida's got a strong program. We do too. We've beat them before, and right now today it's been their day. But Coach Radgewitt's team don't lay down. They'll come back and be competitive. Like last game, it looked like they were about to get run ruled. They got back in it and had a chance to really get in it and get it close late, and just fell a little short. But this is still early and anything can happen.
Well, the softball program at Coastal South, too, is another one of those that by the end of the year, they'll be right in the thick of things come tournament time.
Yeah, and usually at the top. I mean, they're back-to-back conference champions, 3 in a row, and the top academic softball program in this. I mean, I can't say enough about the program and the system that they have in place for how they recruit players and bring in quality kids to good students and structure and all the leadership and things that Coach does with all the kids. And she coaches them hard but holds them accountable like any good coach does. That's the only way you're going to be able to have success, is have discipline and accountability and put in a work and effort. And she does all 3 of those, and we're lucky to have her.
Vissier with a fly out to center field. Underneath to make the catch is Abby Davis. And there's one away as Sophie Jones makes her way to the plate. Cameron Carver to the on-deck circle. For those who don't know, Daniel Head, longtime baseball coach at Alabama Southern and Coastal Alabama North. Do you miss it?
Miss coaching?
Yes.
I miss coaching when the first pitch of the game's thrown to the last pitch of the game. That's it. I love the game. I just got the recruiting, and there's everything. It was a lot. It just became a lot to manage, and philosophically where I was at in my career, I just kind of had a different vision on what I wanted to do, and I enjoy the competition, but. I went from having a platform to impact 25, 30 kids and try to help mold and shape their future to now being in a role that's about 320, 340 kids. And so, having a circumstance to lead a department and a program that's so impactful on not only, young kids and our future and trying to help pave a way to careers and life after college and life after sports and leadership positions. That's what a lot of your student athletes end up doing. So just being privileged to be in this role, to be able to have that responsibility, is something I don't take lightly.
How tough has it been from the perspective anytime you have change? I don't care what the change is. Heck, you could be handing out change, and somebody's not going to be happy. So how difficult has that transition been?
It's change is inevitable in anything, and people's initial reactions are going to be, they're not going to be receptive to change. They're going to be resistant. But it takes a great culture, and it takes great leadership and buy-in within the organization, and a great culture to be able to foster change and support change, and you got to have everybody. You got to buy in all the way across the board, and fortunately we've had that. And so it's been, for me, it's been easy because we have great coaches and people and great student athletes in place to, foster this culture and environment that we've had to go through, from a consolidation to a rebrand to adding programs to shutting down a few programs. I mean, it takes a lot of communication and a lot of support, and you're not going to make everybody happy all the time, and you're going to have to make some tough decisions, and there's a lot of sleepless nights that go into some of these decisions, but inevitably you got to look at the whole body of work and what's best for the organization and for all the stakeholders in the organization.
Let's bring it to this week. There were games scheduled for today that were moved. The John Melvin University Coastal North Softball, the Mississippi Gulf Coast, Coastal North Baseball, both were to be played today. The weather looks good today, so is it field condition?
I think there was just some doubt about maybe if it was really wet yesterday, and then it was dark and gray, kind of damp, the air, and the field towards the end of the day yesterday, it still was wet and wasn't in great shape, and they weren't sure, the conditions were going to be okay. We've seen this weather before where it just stays damp and then it never dries out, and then all of a sudden you're playing, and it's, we're in February, first week of February, so the inevitably is more of a safety thing. They don't want to come out and play on a soft field and somebody tear ACL because of condition of the field, when you can just move it back a day and know that you're going to have a great, surface to play on and not have to worry about any variables. So I think that was more why the decision was made than just it really being wet. It was just probably you could have gone either way with it, and they just probably took the safe route with teams traveling and things like that, and just, hey, we all can still play the next one, and let's just move it and be safe.
We're back to the top of the order with 2 gone and a base runner at second, and looks like Hammonds is going to have a pinch hitter, and that pinch hitter is Madison Stewart. Stewart came into the prior ball game initially as a hitter for Sister Arnold, and then stayed in the ball game to play first. And she will come in and hit for Hammonds with 2 gone here in the top part of inning number 3. All right, lights. Lights here, lights across the street at the baseball diamond, but in the ACCC, there's not a lot of lighted fields. The Coastal North locations don't have lights. Is that something that's on the horizon?
It's something that always kind of gets brought up, but it's really not something that I think is realistic. And if you look at it from our Division I and Division II schools, with our new alignment in the conference, I think about seven or 8 of the Division I teams all have lights, and like 1 or 2 of the Division II. So, most of your D1, but most of the games are 12 o'clock doubleheaders. That's just kind of what we do. That's our niche. It's kind of a different. You're trying to, high schools don't play that time of day. There's a lot of different things that come into play with that, with umpire availability, just playing at a different time, during the day where scouts and college coaches can come out when they're not having, because they'll have games at night. Maybe they can come to a game during the day. I mean, there are a lot of variables. So, that's not anything that's very impactful for us. That's not something that is a make or break item. So, it was nice to have, but it also isn't something that you can, you have to worry to try and, if you don't have it, it's going to hold you back anyway. Because, like I say, most of the teams in the conference, especially in the Division II conference, and you're referring to Coastal North facilities, they're not, every team in that, except I think maybe L.B. Wallace doesn't have lights. So, so it's kind of what the league is. So that's not a big deal, as far as lights or no lights.
New coaches. I, of course, only do softball and basketball, so I know the only coach in those sports, J.D. Pruitt. There may be other new coaches in one of the other sports, but tell us about the new guys or new gals.
Coach Pruitt is, they actually play in today at Bishop State. I have not seen or heard a final score there, but they've played 2 games so far and played a couple close games, getting out of the gate. But I'll tell you what, one word I'll use to describe him is relentless. As far as he is a relentless worker, competitor. He's always gonna have every box checked and make sure everything's done the right way. This guy takes a lot of pride in what he does, and we're fortunate to have him in our program. And we were already seeing a lot of good things that with the kids and the way things are running, and we're really pleased with what he's brought to the table so far. And I think the future is very bright with the Coastal South baseball program.
Now, is he the only new coach from a year ago in all the sports combined?
We have a new golf coach here in Bay Minette. Our coach, Mickey Bureau, had been here for a while, and she decided to retire. And Lee Huggins, who's a local, actually a former Sun Chief baseball player, that is now, he was the assistant golf coach, and he's now our new men's golf coach here in Bay Minette. We started a new golf program in Bruton, and so we have men's and women's program there. So we have a new coach, David Jennings, and Robbie Cotton is assistant coach there. They're doing a great job with that program. They've got one of the top players in the state in their program right now, a kid from Spanish Fort, Jackson Spivey, that we really expect a lot of big things out of him this year. He was like 6A player of the year in Alabama high school last year. New tennis coach in Monroeville, Coach Blakey Crow. He's a veteran coach, has been coaching over 40 years and understands what collegiate tennis is about, and we're blessed to have a guy with that amount of experience in our athletic department, starting a brand new tennis team. So, you know, if you can start a program with somebody that's got that amount of experience, boy, I mean, we're very, very blessed to have that with our program. So if I remember correctly, I'm trying to go sport by sport, but I think that is our new staff members for the year as far as head coaches.
Ella Morgan Sears getting on with a base hit. That's her second hit of the season and day as Kaylin Parker comes to the plate, one away. In the bottom of the third, Olivia Tubbs to the on-deck circle in a 6-1 ball game. Raiders trying to sweep it. South trying to split it. All right, new sports in the ACCC. There have been a ton of new sports added at schools. Double play turned. 5-4-3 goes the DP, and that will put it in to the bottom of the third as we talk with Daniel Hand, the athletic director at Coastal Alabama. A lot of sports have been added throughout the conference. What about in the Coastals? Are there in the future, do you foresee some new sports?
Man, won't you let me take a breath for a minute? I mean,
I only have you, for just a handful of minutes.
I'm just trying. We're trying to get these. You're trying to get me to add stuff already.
Yeah.
I mean, geez,
I know.
I just added six sports last year.
Well,
I mean,
just wait for the next question.
Okay. Well, no, I mean, there's all. Yeah, we obviously are. It's kind of. There are a lot of new emerging sports in the junior college level. And even in our conference, and it's something that we'll definitely look and see how those fit our model here at Coastal. But I know one of the popular sports that's starting to kind of gain a little steam is soccer, men's and women's soccer. I know that Southern Union fielded a team this year, first year of a team in Alabama's had it for a while. And I think Enterprise, maybe one or two other schools may be adding soccer. So that's something we're going to kind of watch and see how that develops. But sometimes you need to support what you have before you go in and overextend yourself trying to add too much. I mean, we have we've got a really good situation in place with how our current structure and organization is held, and I really want to put our resources into what we have right now and maximize our potential there before we start trying to overextend ourselves. So I want to kind of come up for air and see where we're at, and before we go adding anything new, just see how our current structure operates for a couple of years, and try to support those and see where we can get from a championship standpoint and things like that. Because part of playing sports is you want to win and have success and win championships. That's kind of the point of it in some ways, and we have a lot of positives that our athletic department brings, but we also want to bring some championships here. So that's a big part, and we hire real competitive people as coaches to try and do that.
Well, let me give you a heads up, by the way, that I'm going to let you go. I'm going to keep you. I'm going to try to until the bottom of the fourth. So I'm going to just plow on with questions as this one is sent into center field by Sister Arnold. And then you can take a breather at the end of the fourth.
No, I wasn't talking about a breather to the interview. I was just talking about a breather.
Oh, I see.
With I think you're trying to add to my plate by wanting me to add all these extra sports. I'm like, man, I've got enough on me right now. I guess your job's just to keep me, make sure I'm doing.
That's it.
Doing
just
what I'm
make
supposed to do.
Yeah. Sports is our job. So.
And you hadn't asked me about the gym in about 5 minutes. So
that's true.
Yeah, I was waiting on that one to come back.
Well,
up.
I can text you though.
Okay, perfect.
3 base hits in the game for Sister Arnold. On at first, as Ashlyn Shira steps in, drives it right past Hunt, into right center. Over to cut it off is Davis. Meanwhile, going to third, Arnold. Shimer on at first. All right, here comes that other question. Because, it creeps up periodically, even in Alabama. And that is, what about junior college football in the state? I'm hearing rumors that maybe some of the money players have even asked about the possibility of football coming. Are you hearing
money
anything?
Players? What does that mean?
Well, legislators.
Oh, legislators.
Yes.
Okay. All I know is that currently the Alabama community college system bylaw is that we can't have football. So until that bylaw is changed, that we can't. We've had conversations, and I think that is something that if our conference and state decides that's the direction that we want to go, I think we would definitely get involved in that conversation. This is probably just a hotbed of great high school football programs left and right, just within 30 minutes of our campus. I don't think we'd have any problem running a football program at a high level and having a lot of success and finding people that would be very, very credible and quality coaches to come in. And, there's a lot of different ways. And we've had a few conversations with some people outside of that would support that. But, again, until the state and the conference make a decision for the entire cohort, then that's really not realistic for us to even start making plans until that changes.
See, I did not realize. So there are state-mandated requirements, that you cannot have, or who actually?
I think it was a policy put in 30, 40 years ago or something that, that we would not have football as a sport, from what I've been told by our commissioner. I don't know when it was put in, but that was what Dean has told us, that football is not an approved sport by our state either community college system or conference. But I don't know which, who holds that authority, but
right.
Some authority above my level says that we can't do it. So we're not going to do it until that changes.
Well, that is interesting. Marion Military Institute, the last junior college in the state of Alabama to have football. And I think that was back in the 80s. But it keeps coming up, and, of course, it comes up when I'm talking with Dean. Because, Georgia, which is a very small conference, has just added 2 more football schools in Andrew College and Central Georgia Tech.
Right. And, they had the Georgia military.
Yep.
And that was one of the things, just say that 3 schools in Alabama started. Well, Mississippi, everybody says, well, y'all can go play Mississippi. Well, Mississippi has a policy they can only play other Mississippi schools.
Yep.
Now, if Alabama started, then maybe we could join their. I don't know. We can talk through a million hypotheticals with that, but until there's some boundaries and things in place, there's a lot of different directions that conversation can go. But it'll be interesting to sit back and follow. But if the money players are stepping up, then you're the inside track with all that. You're the money guy. So that's what I figured. With your network,
right.
You probably have more intel on that than I do.
And not from a money perspective. Maybe just an ear to the what is it? Ear to the. It's not the millstone, is it, or something? I don't know, ear to the wall. What's the old saying about having your ear to something? Anyway,
I don't know. I'm kind of wondering about these sayings you're coming up with.
Well, it's because they're pre-you.
Oh, okay.
I go way back.
Old school, huh?
Yeah,
some old
really
school
old
stuff.
school.
I got you.
But got a base runner at second in the form of Shira, Christina Mason, who has slapped a home run today. Lifts this one towards right field.
She might have just got another one.
Yep, second one of the game. Third of the season. And Mason, a 2-run shot in game 1, a 2-run shot in game 2. Two RBIs, Gabby Miller coming to the plate. The new pitcher, by the way, is Kaylee Johnson. Madison Frugier will work 3 innings, face 21, 3 strikeouts, a walk, and 7 hits given up. And of the 9 runs on the board, she's responsible for 8. That last run belonging to Johnson. And the base is clear. Gabby Miller stepping in, taking a pitch high and away. Kayla Ferguson moving to the on-deck circle. Well, football may have run me out of questions for you. I mean, I think I'm delved into.
Come on now, you said you got me
I
to the
know,
bottom of the
I
fourth.
know.
I'm getting bored here.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought you said you had me for another half inning.
And I thought I had material, and then.
Can I'll start interviewing you then?
Well, that'd be heck. I don't even know anything to talk about. I couldn't answer any questions. 2-0 count on Miller. The Division I, Division II, I talked to Dean Myrick, I guess it was about a couple of weeks ago, as to whether there was any, if it created any issues that unforeseen to him from a conference perspective. You've got a D1 and a D2 within coastal Alabama. I mean, have there been any unforeseen situations as a result of those statuses that you didn't anticipate?
Nothing major. I mean, I think it's not unforeseen. I mean, I think that one of the things that one of the obstacles that a few schools have to face, like in Division I, the majority of the schools are in the north. So you got some things that are a little bit more challenging from a travel standpoint for our Bay Minette teams. I mean, they are, their closest conference opponent is Southern Union. That's usually our longest trip.
Yeah.
So that's our closest. Which, again, it's all relative. The other programs have to come to us too. So it's not a disadvantage. It's just just from a logistical standpoint of transportation and scheduling, and you don't have this. You got to make probably decisions from rainouts a little bit sooner, and planning with weather for outdoor sports. Indoor sports is really not a big deal. I think it's actually been great. We got some new programs that are having opportunities to have success that maybe they like. I mean, just for instance, like Monroeville basketball, women's basketball. I mean, they got a chance to win a conference.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, nobody but Shelton State's women's teams won the conference in Alabama in the last 15 years. So whoever wins that, whether it's Snead State or us or Chattahoochee Valley, in women, that'll be the first time someone other than Shelton State's had a chance to win a conference championship in 15 years, and so or more. So that's a cool thing. And so that was kind of the philosophy behind it, is there are schools that are not structured to be competitive with some of the other schools. And so now there's an opportunity within more from having the schools that are more, I guess, some of the smaller schools that are more of a Division II kind of program. They all, and you can look at the standings. I mean, every standing in every sport right now in basketball, it's a logjam. It's because it's a little bit in the past. You've had a lot more top heavy, and bottom. It's been more top heavy with some of the teams, being out of the race with weeks to go. Now, I mean, I think about probably 90% of our basketball teams still have a chance to make the tournament, and we're 2 weeks left in the season.
Yep. On the outside part of the plate, DeVessier. Got a shout-out, by the way, which we'll do in the fifth. We typically do them in the fourth, but we have dedicated our time to Daniel Head, the AD of all the Coastals. Speaking of Coastal North and the ladies specifically, I'm not one to venture into profane language, but when I saw they lost to Chat Valley, I was like, well, I mean, dang. Knocked off Snead State. And
they lost in overtime. They missed a few free throws down the stretch that, But, hey, Chattahoochee Valley and Snead still play. So they're all very similar. So, I mean, you got to beat them in a tournament anyway. But it'd be nice if Chattahoochee Valley beats Snead and we hold on, then we'll be co-champions with Snead. And it'll actually come down to a coin flip to see who's number one seed, because of all the tiebreakers will be the same. So that, all that said and done, you get down to flipping a coin and see who's the number one seed in the tournament.
Vissier with the fly out. That is the first out here in the top of the fourth. Fly out to center field as Sophia Jones comes to the plate. And coach comes with her, so that may mean we have got a change at the plate. Let's see if it is Jones or if a different number is there. Cameron Carver moving to the on-deck circle. Now, has there been a final decision, by the way, as to where the D2 basketball tournament is going to take place? Because I think there was some
Yes.
question. It was moving from one spot to another.
Originally, the D2 tournament was scheduled for Shelton State and Tuscaloosa, but due to the fact that we were supposed to play in Huntsville, but the facility, the D2 tournament's a week before the Division I tournament, because the D2 team, the winner of Alabama's Division II will have to play the winner of Florida's Division II in a play-in to go to the national tournament. So we have to move our conference tournament up a week so they can facilitate that play-in game the following week. So we're supposed to play in Shelton, men's and women's. All of a sudden we're getting close, and I think Alabama softball is hosting a 6-team tournament that weekend, and Stillman's hosting their conference tournament, so there were no hotels available. I mean, everything in Tuscaloosa is pretty booked out, so we didn't want to bring 10 teams in for 3 days without any hotel availability. So we're gonna what we're gonna do is the first round of the men. There's 6 men's teams. So the first round will be the 3, 6, 4, 5, and they'll play on Sunday at the higher seed. And then the Final 4 men and Final 4 women will play a 4-team tournament at Bishop State on March 1st and 2nd. And then the winner of that will play against the winner of Florida here in Bay Minette on March 9th to go to the national tournament.
That is fouled out of play by Malia Hale, who is pinch hitting for Sophia Jones. Hale has had 3 plate appearances, 1 base hit thus far in this season. Boy, that helps the budget of Coastal, not having to go to, well, I guess it's not that big of a difference, though, from Monroeville to Mobile versus Monroeville to Tuscaloosa, but there's a little bit of a difference.
Oh, it is. It is a difference, but, and as you know, because you cover all of our tournaments, too, I mean, all of our tournaments have been collectively in the north half of the state, with basketball being in Huntsville, baseball, softball in Oxford, and baseball in Oxford, softball in Alabaster. So it's kind of nice to be able to not travel 4 or more hours for a tournament. So some of our people around here can actually probably commute and go see our kids play and get some support. We played last year. Coastal South played Sneed State in a championship game there, basketball tournament in Huntsville. I mean, that was like a home game for Sneed State. I mean, they had a band there. It was just packed out because it's right there by them, and that was a big advantage. And I mean, they won in overtime. So I mean, yeah, it'd be nice to be able to have that same situation for some of our programs in postseason also, to be able to play closer to home. But, a tournament's a tournament. It's a neutral site, and everybody is going to have the same opportunity to win it. So it all comes down to who plays the best.
Malia Hale, the base hit, drives in a couple of runs, her first 2 RBIs of the year. And again, going to the bench is Northwest Florida State. Ellen Davis steps in for Cameron Carver. This is the second at-bat of the year for Ellen Davis, who had a hit in her only prior plate appearance in an 11-1 ball game with 1 away. And a base runner over at third, able to get in underneath the would-be tag of Johnson is Hale.
Just got him a little high on a tag there, looked like. The ball beat him, but just didn't get the tag down in the right spot.
Baseball and softball. D2 is played in Alabaster for softball. Isn't it Oxford for baseball? But the week prior, And D1 and 2 in softball play together at Alabaster.
D1 and D2 softball tournament will be played simultaneously at Alabaster, and then the like you said, the baseball tournament, the D2 will be the last weekend in April, I think, or first weekend in May. The D2 tournament's a week before the D1 tournament, so we'll have a 6-team D2 tournament. And the winner of that will play the following weekend against the winner of Florida to go to the World Series. And then the D1 tournament this year will be the top 6 teams in Alabama combined with the top 2 teams from Louisiana. And we'll play an 8-team tournament. And the winner of that goes directly to Grand Junction to the World Series.
I did not realize that. So now what state is added to Alabama?
Louisiana. What happened is when we reclassified, we went from 18, 19 teams in Division I to 10. That changed. They kind of restructured our district. In the past, Louisiana had gone to Oklahoma and Arkansas, that area, to play their. They were in that district. So their winner would go up and they'd play a 3-team with those regions. Well, it makes sense. I mean, that region had more than 10 teams, which we have 10 in Alabama. So there's only 3 Louisiana teams. So those 3 make up our 13-team region. So the top 2 there and the top 6 in us. So we have a proportional advantage because we have so many more teams. So we get 6 to their. We get 3 to 1. So. We have 3 times as many teams, so for the postseason we get 3 times as many teams in the postseason. But then it's a wide open double elimination tournament, and the winner goes directly to the World Series. Delgado, who's always been a strong team out of Louisiana, they went to the World Series last year, and so it'll be another great tournament. And whoever wins that tournament will definitely represent our district well in the national tournament.
Coach Mallory Radwich going out in the circle to have a conversation with Kaylee Johnson, who came into the ball game and has registered a couple of outs in 2/3 of an inning of work. But she hasn't been able to get out of the 4th, and it looks like we have got a new pitcher coming in.
Desiree in Denmark.
And that new pitcher is Desiree Denmark. And if you look at the numbers for pitchers this year, Desiree Denmark's name doesn't surface. So it is the first time that we have seen Denmark. But there again, you don't have to go too far back to realize that not seeing pitchers previously could turn out good. Riley Merritt in the prior ball game came into the game in the 5th inning, worked the 5th, 6th, and 7th, and held the Raiders scoreless, yet had not had a single innings work prior. So we'll see what Desiree Denmark can do. As Kaylee Johnson will leave after working 2/3 of an inning. Faced a total of 7. No strikeouts and no walks. Gives up a total of 1, 2, 3, 4 base hits. And at the moment, has allowed 4 runs. Does have a runner on.
Sister Arnold.
So one she would be responsible for. And Sister Arnold coming back to the plate. 12-1 ball game. Okay, that addition of Louisiana schools, was that D1 or D2?
D1.
That is shot down the line, left field. Turns into a double, and Arnold standing at second, moving Hammonds to third. Couple of runners in scoring position as Ashlyn Shira steps in. Shira 1 for 3 in the game, a couple of RBIs. The RBIs came on ground outs. On a ground out to first and a ground out to short. Lifts this one in the direction of right field. Sears on the warning track makes the catch and puts it in to the top of the fourth. We go to the bottom of the inning. Olivia Tubbs, Grace Langston, Jersey Carter coming up.
Discover pastry baking at Coastal Alabama Community College.
Now that Olivia Tubbs.
We head to the bottom of the fourth. It is Olivia Tubbs that will start it off. Grace Langston and Jersey Carter due up in the inning, too. A big thank you to Daniel Hand, AD of all the Coastals. Well, he gave us a lot of information in regards to sports, construction. I guess the only thing we didn't talk was academics. But, hey, it's an athletic event. So thank you very much. Yeah, let's get into the shout-outs. Already had one or two come in, folks that know the fourth is where we typically take shout-outs. So we're going to begin it midway through. The number is attached to the scoreboard. Here's how you do it. You simply text me. 334-488-1385. 334-488-1385. You write them and I read them. Pretty much simple as that. Now, there are things that we like included, like who's it to, who's it from, where's it from. That would be a who, where. 334-488-1385. And these days, with modern technology, I guess really there's no unique spots anymore to be watching the game. I mean, you can be watching it from anywhere. But if you want to throw that into, might be watching it at Walmart, Waffle House. Strike delivered to Tubbs. Stick that on there. Say, hey, I'm watching from the admin building on the campus of Coastal South. One hopped right back to Barnes, goes over to first, Tubbs out on the 1-3. Or you might say, hey, I'm watching while crossing the Mid-Bay Bridge over to Destin, if you're from Northwest Florida. Include that too. 334-488-1385. We'll do it through the bottom of the fourth, and who knows, we may do a little more in the top of the fifth. Shout out says, go Yotes. Shout out to Grace Langston, number 27, center field. Biggest fans, Zach and Jen Langston, watching from Niceville. Thank you very much for checking in from Niceville, Florida, which is where Northwest Florida State's campus is. A little outside to Grace Langston and right on cue. Got Grace Langston at the plate. Got our first shout out from the big Grace Langston fans in Niceville. 3-1 pitch. It's a little bit outside, and Grace Langston is given a walk.
Now batting, Jersey.
334-488-1385. Shout-outs. Here in Game 2 coverage of the Coyotes and the Raiders. Lights on. And we will need them. Let's see what time the sun sets. Isn't it 5:30-ish? Jersey Carter reached on an error and walked. It is exactly 5:30 when the sun says hasta la vista. So we are about 15 minutes away from definitely needing the lights. Strike on the outside part of the plate to Carter. Carter reached on an error, scored a run in the first, walked, and got to third in the second. That one is fouled back. Don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. Just click on the subscribe button. Don't have to fill anything out. Don't have to put your life's history. No credit card information. Just click on the button. Fouled off again by Carter. Raiders a 6-run top of the fourth. Off a total of 7 base hits. Coach out to have a conversation with the plate umpire. Mid-bat, this is kind of an interesting spot to see Coach come out. And now it looks like it will require the services of the assistant coach as well for Northwest Florida State. Almost makes you wonder if they are looking at some, I don't want to call it an impropriety, some kind of goof. Or are they going to make some defensive changes right here in the middle of an at-bat? Well, I haven't seen any changes made. Umpire going over and sharing the information with Mallory Radwich. And we will resume play momentarily. Watching from Columbus, Georgia. Saying thanks for the broadcast. A Coyote fan. Especially a Kalen Fincher fan. Mama at work. Yep, I would say Mama is a big Kalen Fincher fan. Kalen's had a pretty big day. Double and an RBI in this game and a walk. And she is a couple of at-bats away from coming to the plate. There's a walk of Carter, got a couple of base runners on. More confusion, this time between umpires. And it looks like Carter is coming back. So apparently it was a 2-2 count and not 3-2. And Carter will come back to the plate. Roll over towards third. Mason scoops it up, fires to first, not in time. Carter's on anyway. And instead of a walk, it is a single.
Now batting, Abby.
So a couple of base runners on with Abby Davis to the plate. Davis is ground into a 5-3 and ground out to third. Strike delivered from Barnes. First game went 2 hours, 15 minutes. This one is at the 1 hour and 31 minute mark as another strike is delivered to Davis. Kalen Fincher is on deck. Ground foul in the direction of third. Well, the Coyotes would prefer not to wait until the fifth to try to get back into the ballgame. Got to get inside 8 after 5, which means right now they need 4 runs. Too high with the 0-2. Count goes to 1-2 on Davis. She was the first out in the first inning. Out number 2 in the second. And that one hit Davis. She's on and the bases are loaded. Langston to third.
Kalen Fincher.
Carter at second, Davis at first. And Kalen Fincher coming to the plate. So you got Niceville happy with Langston at third. Got Columbus, Georgia happy with Kalen Fincher at the plate. Fouled back, 0-1. Fincher a double that drove in Carter in the first, a walk in the second. Count even at 1, a ball, a strike and an out. That is driven towards the gap, hits and rolls all the way to the fence. Fincher will drive in Langston. Here comes Carter, she scores. Davis to third. Fincher's got her second double of the game. Two runs plate.
Now back, Sydney Sherman.
And a big Kalen Fincher double. 3 RBIs in the game. And that could be it for Barnes. It is. A new pitcher coming in for the Raiders in a 12-3 game.
Frustrated. She's having trouble with her defensive player. Look at this sweet pass behind the back for 2 on the assist.
And that one is hit on a rope to center field. Watch that one. And it is, oh, what a great diving catch by the center field.
And in that game, it was basically a running back by committee. I mean, you had a lot of guys carrying the football. Is that the protocol for the upcoming season for the backfield of Jackson State?
It's a really nice pitch to get the ground ball double play. Second one.
6-5 is your final. East Georgia advances to the championship game.
Torrey Taylor, the new pitcher for the Raiders, and if the name Torrey Taylor sounds familiar, she was one of the 3 pitchers used in the opening game for Northwest Florida State. And the first pitch will get into the dirt and get Davis in from third. Fincher moves to third. Swing and a miss by Sidney Sherman. That is a key run over at third. It would get the game back inside 8. A walk and a ground out for Sherman as that one is fouled back to the screen. Hey, don't forget to subscribe to YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. One-two pitch to Sherman. Just a little bit outside from Taylor. In the opening game, Taylor came into the contest in the 6th, worked the 6th and 7th. Gave up 1 base hit, struck out 3, and walked 2. Fifth inning for the Raiders starts with Mason. Mason, Miller, and Ferguson all come into the plate. 2-2 offering. That is shot in the direction of left field, but foul. Barely about the width of a softball foul. Sherman was just inches away from an extra base hit. Two-two pitch. Into the dirt and outside. Three-two offering. Fouled back by Sherman. Three balls, couple of strikes, payoff pitch, fouled away. Taylor Hunt next for the Coyotes. Torrey Taylor in for Brianna Barnes, who worked 3 1/3. Faced 21. No strikeouts, 4 walks, 4 hits. And thus far responsible for 4 runs. She would be charged with Fincher should Fincher come in to score 2. That is dropped in front of second baseman Carver. Goes over to first and gets the out, but in comes Fincher. And Sherman will pick up the RBI on the 4-3 putout.
Now batting Taylor Hunt.
Taylor Hunt next. Hunt has ground out to first and ground out to short. 0 for 2 in the game. Strike delivered by Taylor. Here is the 0-1 pitch. Popped up, foul territory. Able to get underneath it is Sister Arnold at first. And Hunt flies out. But more importantly for the Coyotes, a 4-run inning has got them inside 8. We go to the 5th. 12-5 Raiders.
Discover culinary arts at Coastal Alabama Community College.
Now batting Christina Mason.
Top of the 5th gets underway. Christina Mason starting it off. Gabby Miller and Michaela Ferguson due up in the inning, too. Seven-run lead for Northwest Florida State. And at the moment, Coyotes have gotten themselves poised to get beyond the 5th. Mason hit her second home run of the day in the 4th inning. It drove in 2. 1 for 2 in this one. Right back up the middle for Mason. 13th Raider hit of the game.
Now batting Gabby Miller.
That's got Gabby Miller coming to the plate. Miller with a couple of singles and a ground out to short. 2 for 3 in the ball game. Michaela Ferguson to the on-deck circle. That's a fair ball, I thought the official initially indicated. But apparently fouled off by Miller. Oh, 1 pitch. A little bit high, a little bit inside. Miller singled in the 1st, ground out to short in the 2nd, singled in the 4th, back to the plate in the 5th. Base runner aboard, nobody gone. Two-one offering. It is on the outside part of the plate. Count goes even. At 2 each. Bottom of the fifth, Ella Morgan Sears, Kaylin Parker, and Olivia Tubbs all 2 up. There's a swat. First, I think, was occupied, which means the runner cannot be on at first. The runner can advance at second, but first was occupied, so Miller is out. Can advance first on a drop strike 3.
Now batting, Michaela Ferguson.
And there's one away for Michaela Ferguson as Hayden Andrews comes in to run for Mason. Andrews, the starting second baseman in the opening ball game. And pinch running for for Christina Mason. In this one, hit by the pitch is Ferguson.
Now batting, Autumn Vissier.
Autumn Vissier next. Vissier is 1 for 3 in the game. Has singled and popped out twice. Malia Hale, who came into the ball game for Sophia Jones in the 4th, on deck to hit again in the 8th spot in the 5th. Strike delivered on the outside part of the plate. Here is the 0-2 offering. Just a little bit outside of Vissier. Vissier with a single in the 2nd. Popped out to center field in both the 3rd and 4th innings. Fincher throws it away into right field. That'll be charged as an E5 that gets Mason in. Couple of runners aboard. They are on the corners.
Now batting, Malia Hale.
Yes, sir. Fort Cruz, the log cabin.
that Ella Davis.
Now pitching for the Coyotes, my lady, Rory Merritt.
Now pitching for your Coyotes, Riley Merritt.
I should have something earlier that I could be married. Okay. You will start laughing. And it's the only one in stock now. 17. I was so old.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Riley Merritt from last game.
Got a new pitching change as Riley Merritt is inserted back in the lineup. With the bases loaded. And I say back in the lineup because she came into the ball game in the prior game and had some effective innings. Worked the 5th, 6th, and 7th. Ella Davis, who came into the ball game in the 4th, back at the plate in the 5th, popped up shallow. Well, as a matter of fact, deep infield. And if the grass came in far enough, I guess it would be shallow outfield. And Carver with a fly out.
Now that Given Hammond.
Two gone in a 13-5 ball game. With the bases loaded as we get back to the top of the order, Given Hammonds coming to the plate. So Desiree Denmark winds up working 2/3 of an inning. And in that 2/3 of an inning, she will face a total of 7. Had a single strikeout, walked 1, gave up 2 base hits. And thus far has allowed only a run. Of course, all the runners on the responsibility of Denmark. That is Ferguson at 3rd, Vessier at 2nd, and Hale at 1st. 2 balls and a strike. Top of the order. Kevin Hammonds. Kevin Hammonds sat out the third. Was pinch hit for by Stewart. Stewart ground into the 1-3. Otherwise, Hammonds has gone 2 for 3 in the game. Reached on an error and scored a couple of runs. 3-1 pitch. Just a little bit inside. That will be a walk. Ferguson coming in from third. So Hammonds will pick up the RBI on the bases loaded walk. Sister Arnold, who is 4 for 4 in the game, coming to the plate, and she's hit by a pitch. And that'll bring in another run as Vessier will score from third. So a bases loaded hit batsman produces an RBI for Arnold.
Ashlyn Shearer.
Turns it into a 15-5 contest. That is shot over into right field. Shira delivering. The base hit has got 1 run in, 2 runs in. It is now a 17-5 Northwest Florida State advantage. Shira delivering with a single that drives in 2. And that's got us back to the spot that began the inning. Christina Mason. Mason has struck out, walked, homered, and singled.
Now batting Christina Mason.
Mason re-entering the game. As you might recall, Mason got a courtesy runner in the form of Hayden Andrews earlier in the inning. So they had to officially get her back into the ball game. Merritt delivering with a strike on the first pitch to Mason. We're talking about the Merritt work, as that one is driven foul. Then game 1, 3 innings of work for Merritt. She did not allow a run. In 3 innings of work. Mason's 5th plate appearance in 5 innings. And as a matter of fact, she used the 4. Raiders with 5 plate appearances in the ball game and 5 innings of work. That is lifted foul and out of play. Gabby Miller moving to the on-deck circle. Well, at the moment, it has got to be a 5-run inning in the bottom part. Popped up to center field. There, the catch made by Abby Davis. And Mason will fly out to center. Well, the Coyotes have put together what they needed to extend the ball game in games prior. Can they do it in this one? Needing 5 in the bottom of the 5th. And don't forget to follow us, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, and Threads. And, of course, when you follow us, we keep you updated on everything that's going on with us. We sometimes have highlight clips. You'll find out, like, tomorrow, we're going to be in Bruton, Alabama, as Mississippi Gulf Coast at 1 o'clock takes on Coastal Alabama North. All kinds of information. So be sure to follow us. And while you're at it, you know, we want you as a subscriber to our YouTube channel. I guess that is first and foremost. You know, we've got short-term goals, shorter-term goals, long-term goals as far as subscribers are concerned. And the current short-term goal is to get to 3,530. I think we're like 2 away from 3,530. So just click on the subscribe button. Ella Morgan Sears lining out to Mason at third. And there's one away with Kaylin Parker next. Coyotes needing a big inning. Parker is ground into a 4-3 and a 5-4-3. The 4-3 in the first, the 5-4-3 in the third. Olivia Tubbs to the on-deck circle. Just a little high with the offering to Parker. Coming up on Thursday, John Melvin University and Coastal Alabama North Softball. That night, Gadsden State. Coastal South Basketball, men and women playing. And Saturday, Reed State, Coastal South Basketball, MMI and Coastal North Basketball. Sunday, John A. Logan and Coastal South Baseball. And there is your week in a nutshell. Parker walked down to first.
Now back, Olivia Tubbs.
Still hope for the Coyotes as Tubbs will float this one to right field in the corner. That will hop out of the mitt of Ashlyn Shira. And the official calling a foul ball. Boy, I thought she got a mid on it in fair territory, and then it popped out of the mid. But the official saw it otherwise. And back to the plate comes Tubbs. On the inside part of the plate, nothing in two. One ball, couple of strikes. That is a foul ball the other way towards third. So that is the second nearly fair but foul ball from Tubbs. Tubbs is ground into a 4-3 and a 1-3. She is 0 for 2 in the ball game. Round out the second in the second to the pitcher in the fourth. Just a little bit outside, and the count evens at 2. 2-2 offering to Tubbs. Grace Langston to the on-deck circle. That is floated towards left field, but again, foul. And the at-bat for Olivia Tubbs continuing. Well, a pair of 2-hour games. Last one went 2:15. This one at the 2:05 mark. That's a high fly ball towards left field. Backtracking to get to it. Hammonds inside of the park, and a 2-run shot from Olivia Tubbs. Two-run home run, Tubbs. Second Coastal South homer of the year, the first for Tubbs. And the Coyotes 3 runs away from sending this game to the 6th. And Grace Langston getting a pinch hitter. This is Nicole Cooper. So Cooper in, Langston, who walked twice and scored once.
Now back, Nicole Cooper.
Pinch hit for in the bottom of the 5th, with the Coyotes still needing 3 more to get this game to the 6th inning. Jersey Carter to the on-deck circle. Strike delivered from Tori Taylor, who came into the game, worked 2/3 of the 4th, and has gotten a single out here in the 5th. A 1 pitch, and it is 0-2 on Cooper. Cooper 3 of 7 on the young year, .429 hitter. Does have 3 strikeouts. 0-2 pitch, outside. One ball, couple of strikes. That is swung on, missed. Cooper goes down swinging, and there's 2 away.
Now back, Jersey Carter.
Back to the top of the order, Jersey Carter next. Carter with a walk, a single, and reached on an error. Has scored a couple of runs. Coyotes pinning their hopes on Carter, starting at least a 3-run rally. And if you were thinking it can't be possible, well, did do a Wallace Hansville MMI game about 6 years ago. Wallace Hansville scored 16 runs with 2 outs. Coyotes don't need that many. Heck, they'd settle for 11 with 2 outs. Strike delivered on the outside part of the plate to Carter. Abby Davis on deck. Floated over towards the dugout, but foul. And the count even at 2 on Carter. Got your deuces wild. 2 balls, 2 strikes, and 2 outs. Taylor trying to end it, Carter trying to extend it. Righty to lefty, outside of the strike zone. Carter reaching on the air in the first, walking in the second. She's got a base hit here in the fifth, singled in the fourth, and again got a hit in the fifth. And Coyotes keeping their hopes alive.
Down back, Abby Davis.
Abby Davis to the plate, 0-for-2 in the game, hit by a pitch and scored a run an inning back. Ground out to third twice in the first and in the second. Davis more plate appearances than any other Coyote. Hitting .286 coming into the day. In the opening game went 1-for-3. In this one, 0-for-2. And gets back this direction into the stands. And an 0-2 count on Davis. Kaylin Fincher hoping to come to the plate this inning. She is on deck. Oh-2 offering to Davis. It is fouled away. Don't forget, tomorrow baseball, Coastal North, Mississippi Gulf Coast at 1. All the home South and North games, all home Bishop State Conference games. All home South Georgia Tech games. All right here. Also home to the ALA BCA Game of the Week. The ACCA. Got a 4-game slate this spring. 1-2 pitch. That is driven towards left field but foul. Next week, South Atlantic Conference Swimming Championships. Also next week, Gulf South Conference Indoor Track and Field. And all of it right here. Low and away with the pitch. Count even at 2. We've been here before. 2 balls, 2 strikes, 2 gone. Last time we were here, nobody was aboard. Now you got a runner at first in the form of Carter. 2-2 pitch. And it stays 2-2. If this game goes 7, and of course the Coyotes got to score 3 to make that happen, you're looking at the possibility of a 3-hour game. We're at 2 hours, 15 minutes in the bottom of the 5th. And it's popped up on the infield at first, catch made by Arnold. And that is your ball game. So a sweep of the doubleheader for Northwest Florida State, winning the opening game 9-2 in the nightcap, 17-7. And taking a look at how this one finishes. A total of 14 base hits for the Raiders. They will strand 8, commit a couple of errors. And the runs came in every inning. 2 in the first, 3 in the second, 1 in the third, 6 in the fourth, 5 in the fifth. For Coastal South, 6 base hits, 2 errors committed. They will leave a total of 7 on. And they get a run in the first, 4 runs in the fourth, and a couple of runs in the fifth. So this one ends a Raider win. Sweep of the doubleheader. Coyotes now 3-3 on the year with the win. Northwest Florida stays unbeaten at 8-0. Thanks for watching. We'll see you tomorrow at 1 in Bruton. For the Coastals and JockJive, I'm Robert Williamson. So long, everybody.
you for everything.